Arif was a man who understood the language of numbers better than the language of emotions. As a senior investment banker, his world revolved around profit margins, interest rates, and stock market fluctuations. He was successful, wealthy, and respected, yet he was failing miserably to balance the most important ledger of all, the accounts of his own life. To Arif, time was merely a tool to make more money. He believed that if he worked hard now, he could buy back his happiness later. One rainy Tuesday evening, while walking through a narrow, fog-covered alley to avoid traffic, he stumbled upon a storefront he had never noticed before. The sign was made of ancient, dark wood with glowing neon letters that pulsed like a heartbeat. It read, "The Time Exchange Bank." Driven by a strange curiosity, Arif stepped inside. The air inside smelled of old parchment and expensive cologne. Behind a mahogany desk sat an elderly man with eyes that seemed to have seen centuries pass. The old man didn't ask for Arif's ID or credit score. Instead, he leaned forward and whispered in a gravelly voice, "Welcome, Arif. Here, we deal in the only true currency of the universe. In this bank, you can sell the years of your future for immediate wealth, or you can spend a fortune to buy back the moments you've already lost." Arif laughed, thinking it was some elaborate prank or a high-end social experiment. "I'm 30 years old," Arif said confidently. "I have decades ahead of me. What's the harm in trading just 5 years of my old age for enough capital to start my own firm right now?" The old man's expression remained stony. "Are you sure? 5 years is a long time when you reach the end." "I'm sure," Arif replied, signing a heavy, golden-bordered contract. In an instant, Arif felt a strange, cold shiver run down his spine. Suddenly, his phone began buzzing incessantly with notifications. His bank balance had skyrocketed by tens of millions. He walked out of the shop feeling like the king of the world. Within months, his life transformed. He bought a glass-walled mansion overlooking the ocean, a fleet of Italian sports cars, and wore suits that cost more than a common man's annual salary. But as he looked in the mirror, he noticed something subtle. His hair was thinner, his skin lacked its youthful glow, and deep lines of exhaustion were permanently etched around his eyes. He had traded his vibrant 30s for the wealth of a king, but he didn't care. He was too busy winning. Years passed in a blur of board meetings, international flights, and gala dinners. Arif's wife had long since grown tired of his absence, and his daughter Sarah was growing up seeing her father only through video calls. He kept promising them, "Just one more big deal and then I'll be home for good." Then came the phone call that shattered his glass empire. Sarah had collapsed at school. The diagnosis was a rare, aggressive illness. The doctors were honest. She needs the best medical care, yes, but more than that, she needs her father. Her will to fight depends on the love and presence of the person she looks up to the most. Arif was devastated. He looked at his calendar. He had mergers in London, acquisitions in New York, and court cases in Dubai. He was a prisoner of his own success. He realized with a stinging horror that he had all the money in the world to buy the most expensive hospital wing, but he did not have a single hour of free time to sit by his daughter's bed and read her a story. In a fit of desperation, he drove through the rain, searching for that narrow alley again. He found it. He burst through the doors of the Time Exchange Bank, soaking wet and trembling. "Take it all!" Arif screamed, throwing his gold watch and his black credit cards onto the desk. "Take the mansion, the cars, the stocks. I want my 5 years back. I need to be with my daughter. I need to save her." The old man looked at him with a gaze full of pity. "I told you, Arif, time is easy to sell when you think you have forever, but once it is gone, it becomes the rarest commodity in existence. The market has changed. Inflation in the world of time is brutal." "I don't care about the price," Arif begged, tears streaming down his face. "Just give me enough time to be a father again." The old man sighed and pulled out a final ledger. "For every single thing you own, every penny in your bank, every brick of your mansion, every share in your company, I can grant you exactly 24 hours of pure, uninterrupted time." Arif stared at the man in silence. A lifetime of sweat, stress, and greed, all boiled down to a single day. He looked at the contract, then thought of Sarah's pale face in the hospital bed. He picked up the pen and signed away his empire. The next morning, Arif woke up in a small rented room near the hospital. He had nothing left but the clothes on his back. He walked to the hospital and sat by Sarah's bed. For the next 24 hours, he didn't look at his phone, he didn't think about the stock market. He held her hand, told her stories of his own childhood, laughed with her, and cried with her. For those 24 hours, he was not a CEO or a millionaire. He was just a father. And in that one day, Sarah's eyes regained their sparkle. The doctors called it a miracle, but Arif knew better. He had finally spent his wealth on something that truly mattered. He was now penniless by the world standards, but as he watched his daughter sleep peacefully, he knew he was finally the richest man alive. The moral of the story is a heavy one. Money can buy a clock, but it can never buy time. We spend our health to gain wealth, and then spend our wealth to regain health. We live as if we are never going to die, and then we die having never truly lived. Remember, time is the only currency you can never earn back. Spend it wisely on the people you love.